The Fenrir Mercenary Corps. That's the name of the military group Mukuro Ikusaba belonged to.
Okay, so...
To show that they're a member of the team, each soldier that joins the squad would get a tattoo representing Fenrir somewhere on their body.
Fenrir?
The image that represents Fenrir is... well, it's a wolf. This one's simple. Can I get an F?
Now I understand.
Pretty easy.
The representation of Fenrir is a wolf.
Fenrir, the wolf of Ragnarok. It's from Norse mythology. A huge, world-ending wolf beast. He's the child of the trickster god Loki, and a female giant.
Now this is actually something I gotta say here. No, not a giant. Jotun. Why is that an important distinction to make? Well, first of all, Jotuns weren't necessarily big. They could be, but they weren't necessarily, which is what giant misrepresents. And furthermore, Loki was one of them until he became Odin's blood brother and therefore became one of the Aesir. Loki is by birth a Jotun. He's not some different species. It's something many people get wrong. It's also completely unrelated to this, so... tangents!
Man, after all this time, we finally got a glimpse of the literary all-star.
A wolf tattoo. Then that means...
Exactly. The body we found had a tattoo of a wolf, which means that person must have once belonged to Fenrir. So it must have been Mukuro.
What?
Hold on. Isn't she the one that was behind this whole thing?
Yeah, that's what we thought, but no.
You sound surprised, but you're absolutely right. Yes, indeed. The trial this time is to solve the murder of Mukuro Ikusaba.
Are you saying the mastermind is dead? And now we have to have a cool-ass trial?
We just assumed that was the mastermind.
No. It means we were wrong in thinking that Mukuro was the mastermind at all.
But I mean, being the ultimate despair seems like a pretty mastermindy title to me.
Maybe we shouldn't have been thinking of her as the ultimate despair in the first place.
Because she's the ultimate soldier, in fact.
After all, looking at her profile, I didn't see anything that would fit such a description. All it said was that she was the ultimate soldier. If I remember correctly, that other information came from Kyoko. That's what you told Makoto, right?
So that means Kyoko got it wrong?
Then who was she? Who was Mukuro Ikusaba? She's been gone this whole time? And when she finally turns up, she gets killed.
Yep.
Usually when there's a scene where an important character dies, it has a lot more detail.
And I'd like to thank Toko here for painting before war.
So you're saying she wasn't an important character? Which would mean she was the same as us. Just another participant.
Then who's the real mastermind?
It must have been the Hope's Peak Academy headmaster after all.
No, the headmaster has nothing to do with it.
But how can we trust that? We already know your information about Mukuro was wrong.
My information was not wrong.
Okay. We're in the middle of a trial right now. Figuring out who killed Mukuro is first and foremost.
Shut up, we're discussing something.
Please limit all future prattle, chatter, and chit-chat as much as possible.
We spent the first couple of minutes talking about if Kyoko was a ghost.
Fine. Uncovering the identity of the mastermind will have to wait. But remember this. No matter what happens, we will find out who you really are. I stake my family name on it.
I have officially decided to completely ignore all such attempts at provocation.
Could you shut up? We're in the middle of something.
Now then, just so nobody's confused, let me state this one more time for the record. The reason we're having a class trial is because a murder among the students has taken place.
Could you be silent for a moment? We're in the middle of something.
Hammer that point straight into your big ol' brains!
What you're saying is that both the victim and the culprit are part of the student body?
Then, one of us killed Mukuro?
Wait, no! There's a chance that there's some mystery 17th person who's been hiding all along!
Nope. There are only 16 students in total that have been taking part in these events.
Seriously? Then one of us killed Mukuro?
Who did it? Who's the killer this time?
Get a hold of yourself. We've already narrowed down the list of possible suspects.
Huh?
I'm sure you realize who I'm talking about, right, Makoto? Who the evidence points to?
Based on who we know, there can only be two suspects. Makoto and Kyoko.
I got it! You've narrowed it down to Kyoko and me, right?
Why do you say that?
Allow me to explain. Just after nighttime last night, I went to the garden, so I can confirm that at that point, there was no dead body there. So, the murder must have taken place after I left the garden. However, Hiro, Toko, Hina, and I were in the gym the entire time.
The gym?
That's right. The four of us were there trying to dismantle Monokuma. The whole time, we were very careful not to go anywhere alone. We even went to the bathroom in pairs. All of which is to say, the four of us all have alibis. The only ones without alibis
Are me and Makoto. That's why you're able to narrow down the list of suspects.
exactly so.
So the only suspects now are me and Kyoko. Damn it, I can't let this stand. Somehow I have to clear my name.
I have something I'd like to say regarding the whole alibi thing.
Are you thinking of raising an objection?
Well, before that, I just want to try and get a better idea of what time the murder took place. Doing that might reveal some kind of clue.
Whatever you want. Somebody go ahead and help him out.
Me and Byakuya can both confirm that the body wasn't in the garden at, well, it was after nighttime for sure. I'd say it must have been around 10 o'clock. So the murder must have happened after 10 p.m.
Then I guess we can say the time frame for the murder was between then and when we found the body? Oh, but what time did we find the body?
The one who saw the body first was Toko, right? And she went to go get the pickaxe.
That was at 9.
I got it! The body must have been discovered at 9 a.m., since that's when Toko went to get the pickaxe.
Now then, oh yeah, this.
He's right. It had to be around then.
So we can be totally sure the murder happened sometime between 10 at night and 9 in the morning.
For me, I was already asleep before nighttime hit, so I don't have an alibi after 10 o'clock. But I'm sure I met up with everyone else before 9 this morning.
We ran into each other in the dining hall, right? That was around... Oh yeah! Right around 7:30. I remember checking right before I went in, so I'm totally sure about it.
Which means from 10 p.m. to 7:30 a.m., you don't have an alibi.
The murder happened between 10 p.m. and 9 a.m., and I don't have an alibi from 10 p.m. till 7:30 a.m. Given it looks like the game has begun. If I can't prove an alibi for that period, then I just have to prove the murder thing happened during that time I don't have an alibi. For that, I have to make clear when the body ended up in the garden.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night
Yep.
and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Pretty damn sure it's the sprinklers.
And Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
Ah, damn it. Made it a little quick on the trigger there.
Shoot!
It's not actually an contradictions.
We've established a time frame. It took place somewhere between 9 o'clock. Yep. And
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think. So Makoto, if you have any objections,
now would be the time.
I'm in the garden at the same time in the morning. See what possible was so right.
we've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock
In the morning. Yep.
And Makoto doesn't...
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
That's more than enough time
To commit murder. So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the time.
Yeah, I'm trying. So it's an exploded body? in the
We've
office?
established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
And Makoto doesn't have an...
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
Shoot!
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at
now
night
I'm confused.
and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
And Makoto doesn't have an alibi.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think. So Makoto, if you have
Any objections now?
I'm trying!
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
And Makoto doesn't...
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
So if you think it was this, but no, I did that. Now I'm confused.
Shoot!
Well, this is bad. I have
We've
no idea what
established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep. And Makoto doesn't have an alibi for...
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think. So Makoto, if you have
Any objections now would be the time.
Oh, this is bad. I might actually get my first game over here.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
And Makoto doesn't have...
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think.
So Makoto, if you have any objections now would be the...
I know what
We've
it is.
established
It's
a
the
time
sprinklers,
frame for
but
the
I have
murder.
no
It
idea.
took place somewhere between 10 o'clock
at night and 9 o'clock.
Yep. And Makoto doesn't have an alibi.
Yeah, from to 7:30.
That's more than
enough time to commit murder. So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the time. We've established a time frame. It took
Place somewhere between 10.
Oh,
No, that's wrong.
so that was it. I have no idea why that was a specific combination, but yeah.
Actually, the murder couldn't have happened anywhere near 10 o'clock. It had to have taken place way later.
Okay, that way. That was a bit hairy, but I
What
got
makes you
through.
say that?
It was actually a kind of a shot in the dark, I will admit. Okay. So that, okay, I get it now, because the sprinklers, then they could, that's why it's a contradiction.
Because of the sprinklers in the garden.
Right.
The sprinklers are set to go off right at 7:30 every morning, right?
Can I get some questions? I need to
So if
regen.
the body had been in the garden before 7:30, then it should have been completely soaked.
Oh, hold on. I remember this part perfectly. The body was wet. Dripping wet, in fact.
Sorry, Toko, but you're wrong.
I'm wrong? How? Are you saying only the mouth down south was wet? How dare you spew such indecent words?
What?
No, I'm saying that the body was wet, but not because of the sprinklers.
What do you mean? By denying the sprinkler, are you trying to deny my entire existence?
Toko, get a psychiatrist.
Man, you're totally wacko.
If you really think it wasn't the sprinkler, you'd better tell us why!
Couldn't you just have said that part? With often springs that got the body wet. All I have to do is hit Toko with certain evidence and that should do it. If you look at the body itself, that should make clear. I think Toko is getting unstable if we already have to do this.
I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't know anything! How can you say it wasn't the
This should prove it.
Ready? We had to have a fucking battle over this, Toko? Come on!
Just remember what the body was like after the explosion, and you'll see why it wasn't the sprinklers. The top half of the body was wet, yes, but the bottom half was completely dry. If the sprinklers got the body wet, shouldn't the whole body have been wet?
So they only got the top wet? The bottom was completely dry? What a brutal maniac!
Toko, could you get back to reality anytime soon? You're as far out as heroes right now. Is everyone just... Has nobody gotten their breakfast today?
I'm so sick of her.
Let's just move on. The reason only the top half was wet was because... while the body was still on fire, I doused it with water. But only the part on fire, the top half.
Oh, then I guess the sprinklers really didn't do it.
So if the sprinklers didn't get the body wet, then the murder must have taken place.
You know, I don't mind Toko as much anymore, but sometimes she acts like she's from fucking space.
Sometime after the sprinklers turned on at 7:30 in the morning.
Which means she must have been killed sometime between then and when the body was discovered at 9.
But Makoto's alibi was only missing from 10 o'clock last night to 7:30 this morning, right?
So there's no way Makoto could have done it. I guess you had an alibi after all. Good for you.
In which case, the only one left without an alibi is Kyoko.
Kyoko's only without an alibi? Which means that Makoto's killer is... No, I refuse to believe it. Kyoko murdered someone, that's...
I'd just like to say one thing. If you vote for me and I die here, the mystery of this school will stay hidden forever. Which is why I can't let that happen.
Huh?
So are you saying you're not the culprit?
Of course I'm not. I have no reason to kill anyone. This is a trap the mastermind has laid for us.
A trap?
We're this far into the game and now you decide to blame me? Stop wasting time! Stop wasting energy! You really think your little trick is gonna work?
Shut up, you!
You got it, boss! Shutting up now!
Thank you.
Anyway, Kyoko, you actually did have a reason to kill her.
Huh? She did?
She thought Mukuro was the ultimate despair. In other words, the mastermind behind everything. So she killed her to try and put a stop to all this. Isn't that right, Kyoko? But you made one catastrophic mistake. Mukuro wasn't the mastermind at all. And as a result, we were forced into another trial. Something I'm sure you weren't at all expecting.
It's actually a pretty neat theory.
That was her motive?
If she had a motive and no alibi, well then... I think it's pretty clear Kyoko's gotta be the culprit.
I'm not the only one without an alibi. Makoto's explanation is still insufficient.
Huh?
The sprinklers didn't get the body wet, but that doesn't mean the murder happened when he said it did.
What are you...
Because you see, there is a way the body could have avoided getting wet.
Interesting. I'm listening.
All it would take is covering the body with a certain something to keep it from getting wet.
A certain something of a scene was used to cover body could have been... the top.
I got it!